background noise. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday night interviews with special people. Tonight we have a very special person. We have Rabbi Minkowicz. Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us. Introduce yourself, please. Give us a little bit about your background and tell us, and we're going to talk about your trips to Eretz Yisroel over the last few months. But first, please introduce yourself. Give us a little background. Who are you? Where are you from? Name, rank, and serial number.
All right. Well, Shalom Aleichem. It's a honor to be here with such holy people from Chicago. My name is Rabbi Minkowicz. I am a shliach in Fort Myers, Florida. It's the west coast of Florida. And Baruch Hashem, we have a nice community, a little school, a mikveh, then shluchim of the Rebbe here in Southwest Florida.
Beautiful. So, of course, every Jew, our minds and hearts and prayers and financial support and so on is all focused on Eretz Yisrael ever since Shmini Atzeres. So take us back, if you would, please. How did you first learn of what occurred on Shmini Atzeres? What was your personal experience, and then how it led to you to make these last couple of trips to Eretz Yisrael? So if you would walk us through just your own personal experience.
All right, so obviously on Shmini Atzeres, when the terrible atrocity, whatever words you want to use to describe what happened, possibly no words, we found out in our Chabad, someone came in the morning to tell us, and we were like obviously in shock, and throughout the day we got different pieces of news. We had with us in the community a fellow that was actually he has been in the army in the past, and he told me that he was going to wait till after Shabbat, and he was going to check his phone to see what happened because he might be needed. He heard they were calling up, Tzav 8, they were calling people to come to Israel, and sure enough, right after Shabbat, he opened his phone and it was like bombarded with texts and WhatsApps and emails that he has to go back to Israel. And he was deciding because he's married with a baby, and one hand he wanted to go, and his wife and daughter didn't want to go, and he literally did not know what to do. When he left that Saturday night shul, he told me he did not know what he's going to do. He's in a big dilemma. I said, listen, we give a shir in the morning, 9:00. Come and join the shir, or come and let me know what you're planning in doing. And sure enough, next morning, which was Simchas Torah, at 9:00 in the morning, I came to shul to give a shir. And he walked in torn, and he says, Rabbi, I made a decision. I'm going to Israel to fight for our people. And he literally left on Yom Tov. He came to the shul to pick up his towel, his tefillin, and he drove to Miami, and he went to Israel. He left his wife and daughter here. We were in contact with him, so it was a personal connection because besides the fact we're all connected to Israel, we had literally someone from our community that picked up and left. And we started to talk about it in our community, and I wrote an article. I did a YouTube about Israel, and I guess the news picked it up, and they came to interview me, and then we told about our person in Israel that was there from our community. So we had many interviews in the community on TV about we had live interviews with this person in Israel, and then other contacts I made. And what happened was it was a grassroots effort. It's actually interesting. It was not organized by any organization or anything, but a bunch of shluchim randomly decided they want to go to Israel, a WhatsApp, a text. And I didn't know what to do. Should I go, not go? And I learned throughout life, you listen to the kids know everything. So I turned to my son who works with me. You see him in the picture in the background. And I said to him, hey, what do you think? We should go? And he says, yeah, let's go. So I said, okay. It was like, one of these things you can't think and you can't analyze it because you can go in circles. And he said to go, so we're going. So sure enough, I decided to join the group of shluchim that were going to Israel. The beginning it was like 2, 3, 4, 5. We ended up having 28 shluchim. They were all from America. One was from Canada and one from Australia. And we went to Israel. It was a phenomenal trip in terms of, obviously, again, I tell people Israel is basically bittersweet. It's bitter what happened and what's going on. People are being killed, people injured, but it's sweet because basically when you come to Israel, you see the unity is beyond. The unity of the Jewish people, the soldiers, everybody. It's like one big, everyone's focused on winning the war, getting back the hostages, and helping each other. So that trip was a very, very powerful trip. It was very well organized.
That was in October. When was that trip?
That was right away. So it must have been either tail end of October or the beginning of November. It was like within the first couple of weeks. It could have been right in October, possibly. It was right in the beginning, right in the beginning. And we basically what we did there was we did several things. First of all, at that time people were still setting Shiva in a big way. So for example, we went to many multiple Shiva houses. As a matter of fact, some hotels that the people, because people were evacuated from their homes, so the Israeli government put them up in hotels. So literally in these hotels, you had like tents with like one hotel, like in one of these like resort type of hotels, not too fancy, but there was outdoor. There was like 10 tents, and every tent was a different family sitting Shiva. So we went from one Shiva house to the next, which was very tough. But what's interesting is, and actually I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the shliach from Chicago, without mentioning names, said to the Israeli person that was sitting Shiva, he says, we're here, in Hebrew, he tells him to mishtatif, to participate in your pain. And this Israeli, you have to realize that most of the people in this that was sitting Shiva that are not religious. As a matter of fact, not only they're not religious, they're anti-religion. And he turned to him with like such, Israeli energy. Those words leave back in America. Don't tell us you're coming to share in our pain. We're not in pain. It's a bump in the road. Unfortunately, but we're going to get up. We're going to be stronger. We're not in pain. We're focused to win the war, and get back full control of Israel, etc. So that was really very powerful. Like on one hand, they're setting Shiva, serious stuff, but they were focused. They were focused to get through the Shiva, get through the pain, but they were focused on winning the war, getting back the hostages, and they were really in a very powerful way. We went to multiple. That was one. We went to multiple Shiva houses. Every one of them was very powerful. I will tell you, at that time, we also went one day to a Shiva house, which is very sad, of a developer who lived in Ashkelon, and he was a developer. He built beautiful, big, high-rise buildings. He built even the synagogue for the community for free, and he employed hundreds of Arabs. A big development company. He was on Zikim Beach with his friends that day, and the Hamas came onto the beach, and they went ahead and they killed everyone was on the beach, including him. But the worst part was they went ahead after they killed him, they threw a grenade in his face so that the family would not identify him. And it took actually 2 extra weeks to identify him because of the way they killed him. So it wasn't just they killed people, they actually, the goal was to create pain and suffering, not only for the person that died that they killed, but also for the family. So we visited his family, and it's interesting. So actually this trip I just went, I was my 3rd trip already to Israel after October 7th. This past trip I went, not to jump ahead, but to complete the story. It's funny the way you get to complete a story. This trip we went, I decided I never heard of Zikim Beach in my life. You ever heard of Zikim Beach? I never heard of it. But when I heard about it from the family, I have to find out what the Zikim Beach is all about. We heard of Tel Aviv Beach, Netanya, you heard the big cities. I never heard of Zikim. So I asked a friend of mine in the army if he can take me to Zikim Beach. He told me it's actually closed off. The army closed it off because it's still like a war zone officially. But the army took me into Zikim Beach. It's a stunning beach. Let me tell you, it's gorgeous. A stunning beach, beautiful sand, and it's all closed off. And they showed us literally. I have my YouTube channel. You should be able to see videos of the bathrooms, the shelter. We went into the shelter. We're in the shelter. They came in, and they killed 7 people. When we went into the shelter, literally, it still smelled from the blood. We actually said some Tillim. We lit some candles. We did some kind of memorial there. It was very powerful to bring that full circle to to see where the person was killed, and later to go to Zikim Beach and actually be able to say some psalms and light a candle. And so back to the point. So one thing we did was the Shiva house, which was very powerful. We also went to visit patients in the hospital. Soldiers that were wounded in intense ways. So I'll share with you an interesting story that happened in one of the hospitals we went to. So when we went to Israel the first trip, you have to realize today every second shul and group and family and everyone's going to Israel now, which is beautiful. When we went, there was big controversy where you should go or not. Like, what are we going to do there? There's enough rabbis in Israel, and it's dangerous. Like, and matter of fact, someone in my community didn't talk to me for a week when he heard I was going to Israel. I said, Rabbi, I want you my rabbi. What right do you have to go? I want you here. I want you alive. People were very afraid. So there was big, controversy. We should go. We shouldn't go. Matter of fact, one rabbi wrote publicly that no one should go to Israel. But whatever reason, we, I guess, decided to go. We were going. So what happened was when we came to one of the hospitals, Sheba Hospital, which is one of the big hospitals for rehabilitation. So we went, we used to go from room to room, and we brought gifts to the soldiers that were going through rehabilitation. We brought them, serious gifts. We took them iPads and phones and electronics, and it was nice stuff. And we also asked them to put on tefillin. We also had guitar. We were singing songs with them. We were giving them a little simcha, probably more than a little simcha. And there was a guy there who was sitting in a wheelchair. He was band-aid, literally. His head was band-aid, his hands were band-aid, his feet were band-aid. He might have not had a foot or something, pretty heavily injured. And you have to realize, again, a lot of the people that were injured were non-religious and anti-religion. And we, nicely asked him, we'd like to put on tefillin. And he turned to us and he said, "You see that, Rabbi? Many rabbis come to the hospitals to visit and put on tefillin. He asked me and I said no, and that rabbi said no, and that rabbi said no. So we thought, okay, we're telling you no also, right?" And surprisingly, we were shocked. He said, "But guess what? To you guys, I'm going to put on tefillin." And we taken aback. We're happy. And he said, "Because you came all the way from America to visit, I'm going to put on tefillin." So we put on tefillin with him. You have to realize he was bandaged on his head and his hands, all over his body. And we put on tefillin with him. We took a picture of it, and then we sent it back to all the people in America, those that were happy that we were going to see what we were doing, and those who were not happy to see what we were doing. And I will tell you, once we sent that out, everybody said, "Wow, we're so happy you went," because we realized the impact you can make. There's one thing someone locally helps out, that's great, it's beautiful. But someone that takes the effort, comes from America or from wherever, anywhere in the world, it shows that you care. And I will tell you, matter of fact, I went to one of the bases on this my second trip, and it was a very nice. It was more like a chilled base, only because you're not in the war itself. They're the ones that would throw the missiles. So when they would get a message, we have to throw a missile somewhere. They were the guided missiles. So it was more like smarter people, educated people that were working on computers to shoot missiles from Israel into certain specific targets. And it was just nice. We made them a nice barbecue, and we actually davened mincha. They had a nice shul there. We davened mincha in the shul. And afterwards, they came over to us, again, thought out people. We want to thank you so much for coming. You don't realize the impact you make. And we were thinking, really? Wow, because you don't realize, am I making an impact or not? And it's nice there. And they said, "Listen, I want you to know, the fact is, for the first, month people came and people supported us, then you don't hear from anybody. And the fact that you guys are still coming, it's really, really beautiful and meaningful." So,
when was the second trip?
The second trip was the end of December, beginning of January.
Okay. And that was, again, just you personally, or you went with a group? Or
no? So it's funny what happened, how things work. What happened was my cousin was making a wedding for his son, and my family was going, and they asked me if I want to go. I said, to be honest, I don't want to go for a wedding to Israel, because I don't think it's the right time. You have to go for a wedding to Israel to dance. But if you agree to go visit, army bases and the hospitals, and to help out the people that are isolated in hotels, then I'll go. I don't want to go just for a wedding. And they said, "Well, you plan it. We'll see if we'll come." The end was, I planned the trip. Every single day, everybody joined us, and they were totally moved and totally touched. It was really, really, it was actually a very powerful trip. The second trip we did a lot of barbecues. We actually did a few concerts over there then for the soldiers. It was a very, very powerful trip. It was a very, very powerful trip.
Well, how do you coordinate that? You just call up and say, "Hi, I'm coming to Israel. I want to go visit soldiers." Do you have to have some sort of security clearance? How do you pragmatically organize a trip to go visit soldiers?
So it's a lot of it is, is connections, people, and once you get to know this one, that one, and it's just you get into it, and it's like anything, you learn how to do it. But I know, I will tell you, listen, we didn't come, we didn't go we did not go. It wasn't a tourist trip. It was a working trip. We came with a lot of money, a lot of support. People in our community that never supported on this level. They reached, they reached out and said, "Hey, you're going to Israel. We really want to go. We can't go. Here's a check. Here's money. What do you need?" Every trip that I went, people in the community surprised us with the support. It's in amazing ways. Really, really amazing ways. So the support was huge, very, very huge. So I'll share. I'll share with you this last trip that we went on. So
give us the date. Set it up for us. This last trip. You went in October. You went in December.
Right. Oh no. Okay. So fine. You want to get the last? So the first trip I went was the Shluchim trip. That was, I think, at the end of October, beginning of November, approximately.
And you went
The
with your
second
cousin's wedding.
cousin wedding was at the end of December, January,
Okay.
and then what happened was people like, and my dream was to try to take a community trip, people from my community, and there was one lady that wanted to go, and I said, okay, we have to get some more people. Finally, she called me up one day, she like whatever, she says, that was Friday morning, Rabbi, I'm taking chutzah, we gotta go to Israel. I said, no problem, let's go, let's book. So sure enough, she booked, I booked, my son booked, and then I put the word out. Another guy in the community, wasn't even Jewish actually, decided he wanted to come, so we were 4 people. And we, obviously we organized the trip. And so what's interesting was happened was, I'll tell you 2 stories, a few. I mean, tell me when to stop. So what happened was, when people heard that we were going, so I arranged to go. One of the things we wanted to do, I wanted to visit the people in the hospital. So I called the Jewish chaplain there. And I told him we were coming. They said, listen, with this hospital that we're in, the soldiers, they have a rehabilitation. They end up staying there for like a month. And what happens when they're here, the hospital gives them these cheap gowns to wear. So there was a group that came from New Jersey, and they brought like nice, sweatsuits, designer. If you want to bring that, we can use a lot of them. We go through, 30, 40 a month. Maybe you can bring some. So maybe you can bring like 90 of them. Will last us for a little bit. I said, sure. So I sent out like a WhatsApp to my group, my community. Hey, I'm going to Israel. There's a request for these things. So a lady, actually, a Jewish lady, owns the mall here. And she called me back. She says, Rabbi, and I said it was Thursday morning. So I need it by Friday before 12 o'clock. So like with less, like 24 hours. So she called, Rabbi, you want it in 24 hours? Am I supposed to get it? I said, listen, Hashem runs the world. Let's see what you can do. So sure enough, she called me at 5 o'clock that same day. Rabbi, I got you, she got me half of them, 45 of them. I had another lady got me another 45, and I'll have it to you the first thing in the morning. I went to my whole staff. They worked the whole day to get it. And sure enough, we took the 90 sweatsuits, and we had to work with the Israeli customs to get it in, because it's still complicated. But thank God, with God's help, we got cleared through customs. Because it's not so simple to bring stuff. It's a process, but thank God it worked out. We were going that same day we landed to the thing. But anyway, so I want to tell you another very powerful story. So what happened was, we were organizing barbecues for different groups, just to give them chizuk and give them strength, power. So one of the groups we were supposed to do a barbecue for, what happened was, unfortunately, 2 people in their gedud, in their platoon, in their group, got killed. And they felt like it wasn't appropriate to do a barbecue with music, whatever. I said, no problem. Listen, we're here to help, and whatever you guys want. So they said, you know what? How about not a barbecue? Maybe we can do some kind of like a kumsitz, like we could put like a farbrengen. We call it a farbrengen. You guys know what a farbrengen is. We'll do a farbrengen maybe middle of the night, midnight in the forest, with pizza, not music, just pizza and whatever. I said, no problem. That's what you guys want. So we ended up doing a different barbecue that day at like 3 o'clock for like 5 hours.
Oh boy.
Like over 1,200 soldiers. It was phenomenal. Matter of fact, a shliach today called me up. He told me he's doing a perm in Israel, and he was looking for some good dancing music with a barbecue, and he found mine. He wanted if I could send him some of the footage. Anyway, we did it for 5 hours. And when we were done with that, we went to a forest, deep into a forest, and we met this group of soldiers, and we brought them pizza. We had to bring them kosher pizza, and we sat for bringing. It started midnight in the forest. And we bring with them, and they were saying, which was really beautiful, because talking about Farbrengen, this is basically what you guys do on the phone now, is a Farbrengen, right? Yes, everyone talks, etc. And they were saying after every incident that they go through, they always have a Farbrengen. Why? Because they find that if you have a Farbrengen, you get it out of your system. Otherwise, you're going through tough stuff, and it stays in your stomach. It can create knots and other stuff which is unhealthy. So Farbrengen, they love doing Farbrengens. Anyway, so we Farbrenged, and I had a friend of mine who's a chazan, a cantor from Jerusalem, and he also helps soldiers. Any soldier that wants to put on tefillin, commit to putting on tefillin, he buys them tefillin. And he has different donors around the world that love sponsoring people that want to put on tefillin every single day. And he's given out, I don't know, maybe 70 pairs of tefillin already so far, and like good ones. They cost like $1,000 a pair. It's not cheap.
Oh boy.
But it's a big mitzvah. Guys committing to put on tefillin every day. So I brought him to we worked on this project together. He met me there at the at this Farbrengen midnight pizza party for Farbrengen, and he had 3 guys that already committed. So he was bringing 3 pairs of tefillin, but in his car he always has, you know, a dozen pair of tefillin because somebody wants. You're not going to go run to the store and buy it. You need to have it available. Otherwise, you know, it's a missed opportunity. So he came to Farbrengen, and and he, you know, he mentioned that, you know, 3 guys took on to put in tefillin, etc. And he has a tefillin here. So I was like, I was totally like, you know, emotionally like, I was going on no sleep for 3 days, and I really was like emotionally excited. I said, wow, I'm so touched. I'm so impressed. I mean, you guys are soldiers. You just lost, you know, good friends, and here, you know, you have no time and anything. You're taking on to put in tefillin. It's a big commitment. I mean, it's a serious commitment. You know, I'd love to get I think you guys are, you know, real big tzaddikim. I'd love to get pictures with you and your autograph. And it was in a sincere way. It was like really, you know, organically true. And they got it for pictures and everything. So then he said, listen, you know, and then I said, if anyone else wants to join, I'll give you the same hug, the same blessings, you know. And another guy did, 5 people did, and it was all 6. And before you knew it, before the end of the night, 10 soldiers committed to putting on tefillin every single day.
Wow.
Could you imagine?
Unbelievable.
It was like beyond. It was like literally beyond. The guy himself was shocked. He never gave out so many tefillin in one night, and every one of them took on. And actually, since then, I'd helped him. I got him other people to donate tefillin to, you know, when we gave out tefillin. Actually, it's just literally just today he sent me. I got him a few pairs of tefillin, and whatever. So just today, literally, he sent me a video of a guy. If you want, I'll send it to the rabbi, and I can share with you. Just today, another soldier committed to put on tefillin every day.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. So I will tell you, I call it now, Israel is mitzvah land. You can help people putting on tefillin for the first time and committing on tefillin every day. Mezuzahs. You have, you know, barbecues you can make, visiting the hospital, visiting. There's a lot of displaced people. We did many events in the hotels where people are displaced. They have this, like, you know, no one's really, like, you know, giving them extra chizuk. So we did some beautiful stuff. There's so many mitzvahs you can do from when you go, and even from here. There's a lot you can do from here. There's so much you can do from here. I found someone, a private chef, does meals. We hired her, and many Shabbosim. We already sent hundreds of meals every Shabbos for soldiers. I mean, there's so much. Honestly, if you just want to do, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. What can be done? Okay.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. Amazing. So you made 3 trips. You're bringing back. It sounds like you gained more than you brought with all Absolutely. Of this enthusiasm and inspiration. So we want to thank you for taking the time to share. If anybody wants to unmute and jump in, we do want to be respectful of the rabbi's time. I told them it'd be 15, 20 minutes. We're already at 25 minutes. But if anybody has a quick question that they want to ask, otherwise, we'll thank Rabbi Minkowicz. We'll wish him a Freilich and Purim, and we'll say goodnight. Anybody want to jump in? Otherwise, we'll say goodnight.
Yes, thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Krishna.
Okay, Mikamcha Yisroel, who was there like the Jewish people. Thank you for bringing them the inspiration and bringing back even more inspiration. And it's the classic illustration. You think you're giving and really you're receiving. So thank you for sharing the enthusiasm with us and sharing these stories. And we should continue to report good news and more mitzvahs and more. And Hashem should see the devotion of our people and bring us to the ultimate victory with Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu.
I mean, by the way, you see behind me, there's a tank?
Yes.
So that tank, we saw those tanks between the barbecue and the pizza party, just to give you perspective. And that's the Merkava 4. That's the newest tank, Israeli's tank. That's the new Israeli tank.
Amazing.
All right. Listen,
Okay,
guys, I'll send the rabbi the video.
Please do, and I'll share it with everybody. Freilich and Purim, thank you for your time. Beautiful. Thank you.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat.